Chapter 16. Forgiveness. There is a word that has been bandied about in spiritual books and spiritual circles for a long, long time, and it is often looked at with some cynicism or with trepidation, as though it is a word whose meaning is extremely hard to embrace and put into practice. And yet this word is perhaps one of the most important words in this book, and I intend to explain why today. The word is forgiveness. Because of the effects of the field, it is extremely difficult to forgive. Because of the effects of the fall, you find yourself operating from a position of physical ego and physical mind. And the physical ego and physical mind work together to preserve you as the physical being you appear to be. It is, therefore, very difficult to look past anyone's attack on you, be that verbal, mental, or physical, because you seek to survive, not to be, but to survive. As a result of this, almost everyone you come across is also seeking to survive. And so any perceived disturbance in the vibration that is sent towards you is looked upon as a threat and as something that needs to be put down, attacked, or run away from. This is extremely important. When you forgive, you let go of the vibrations around you that are holding you to your idea of physicality and your idea of spirituality on a certain level. You see, because you are all one, you make connections minute by minute with those around you. Not only that, but you make connections with the present and with the past. And because you are living as a perceived physical being within a bubble of physicality, those molecules that exist and cannot be completely destroyed still have power. So, when you perceive something in the past that you consider to have brought you pain and upset, you reactivate those molecules that connect you to the event, which still exists within the bubble of the field. And you reconnect yourself to those people who you consider to have done you harm. In other words, the inability to forgive, which is a cleansing process, actually maintains the effectiveness of the field around you and ties you to those very energy points within the field and within your consciousness from the present and the past, and those energy fields feed and maintain the field and keep the status quo against you. We have come to the point in this book where we are examining what must be done in order to rectify the effects of the fall, and, above all, what needs to be done in your personal life. And by personal life, I mean you as a point of energy perceiving the rest of your physical universe as an individual. And what needs to be done most is to forgive. And you need to forgive on so many levels. First of all, you need to forgive yourself, because so many people suffer by measuring themselves as being less than perfect. Now that is a memory. You know you are perfect on a spiritual level, but on a physical level, you sense that you are operating at less than your full capacity and capability. And so the mind interprets that as a feeling of inadequacy, of being less than perfect, and of not measuring up to you know not what, but you know it is there. You know that sense of lack and sense of less than perfection is there, so you attract to yourself, around you and through you, powerful molecules that maintain that illusion of you being less than perfect and less than deserving. After many years of revisiting these molecules and activating them in your subconscious time and again, you attack yourself. You condemn yourself. You crucify yourself. And this constant subconscious and partially conscious attack on who you really are begins to degrade the physical body. This, tell your doctors, tell your nurses, tell your patients, is one of the prime causes of illness and of disease. Dis-ease with yourself. Dis-ease that you believe on a subconscious level you deserve because you are less than perfect. Believing everyone else to be perfect and that you have not attained what they have attained. The first point in rectifying your own position with regard to the fall and your escape from it is to forgive yourself, is to be easy on yourself, and is to let go of those beliefs and tendencies from the past that you have created, constructed, bought into, and are maintaining. You have to let go of those molecules. You have to allow them to disperse. And you free yourself from that perception of being less than you should be. How can you be less than you should be? The only area in which you are less than you should be, in physical terms, is in your perceived separation from God, which we have explained in earlier chapters and books, and your perceived separation from the other parts of you, in that the fall gives the illusion of you being a self-contained unit, when of course you are not. So you have to forgive yourself regularly, perhaps weekly. Go into your heart chamber in your meditation and seek out those areas where you perceive yourself as being less than perfect, and address those areas by saying, "How can I be less than perfect? I am part of God. I am an angelic being. I let go of those untruths. I let go of those molecules. I will never revisit these areas and again believe that I am less than I should be, less than I can be, less than I am." And in doing that, you nullify the effects of those constructs you have placed around yourself. Next, you need to look at your opinions of the world. A great example of this is the Second World War, where people still believe that those they feel were instrumental in causing that conflict need to be punished. And following their deaths say, "Well, they have gone to meet their Maker now, and I hope they are still suffering because they deserve to do so." You have to turn around that concept of the ringleaders needing to suffer, needing to be judged, and needing to be punished. And you have to let go of your concepts of who was right and who was wrong. In a sense, because of the effects of the fall, any endeavor into which energy is put, which has originated from this level only, results in you all being wrong. I'm sorry, that sounds a terrible thing to say from your perspective, but I want you to examine that statement. You are all wrong because you all lead to a point where someone who is more receptive to the effects of the field can raise themselves up and drag you with them into conflict, and it still happens. It is still happening. So what you have to do with regard to your judgment of conflicts from the past, and your desire to see the people involved punished, is to forgive them, is to forgive the whole conflict, is to forgive the whole struggle, is to let go of your memory of that struggle and deconstruct the molecules that are waiting around you and millions of others to be called back into action at some present or future time. Do you see that, in not forgiving, you keep around you and store in your pockets, minds and hearts the potential to repeat the exercise? Because every time you look at this world and say, "What a terrible conflict," look at what has happened in the past, look at what needs addressing and punishing, you activate those molecules. And those molecules vibrate at the same rate as similar molecules around other souls across the globe. And they have power. They have power. I will tell you something else. The need for forgiveness on a global scale goes back to the time of the fall. It goes back to those memories you had before you became so immersed in matter that you could not remember. And it goes back to the time when you found yourself immersed in a physical plane, unable to get out because of the experiment, and said to yourself and others, "What have I done? What have we done?" So you have a conflict at your core, not your angelic core, but your physical core, that you have built up over lifetimes because of the effects of the fall that bring you back into physical matter time and again. That conflict is, on the one hand, you wanting to support your decision because you cannot believe on a physical level that you are wrong, but on the other hand, you have this need to forgive yourself and to let yourself out of the effects of the fall by letting go of those molecules that trap you within it. Do you see that? You created a condition which, on one level, you seek to maintain because you want to see through the experiment as an echo of that impetus that took millennia to arrive at in the first place. But you also sense, on an angelic level, that you need to let go of those very molecules that you seek to constantly reconstruct and re-energize. It all goes back to that term, original sin, or original mistake. And you set yourself free from that original mistake by letting go of the circumstances that you still carry around you. Circumstances that can do so much damage if you continue to energize them. So, you need to forgive on a primal level, or the part of the fall that still resonates within you. You need to forgive those circumstances from the past that you, and you may not even have been a part of them physically, still hold in judgment. You need to forgive yourself for feelings of inadequacy that stem not from your physical life, but from your realization on a subconscious level that you are not where you should be, that you have not done what you should have done, and that you are capable of so much more. It is an echo from the time of the fall, and you need to let go of it. In order to free yourself from it, to rise above it, and to be an example of how to bring light into this world, you need to forgive yourself. Let go of those circumstances. Realize that you are perfect and cannot be otherwise. Realize that you attack, destroy, and shackle yourself on a physical level because you are immersed in the physical level that you created, but find difficult to forgive yourself for. You also then need to change your perspective regarding those around you. When you see people at work attacking you verbally, judging you, judging others, or proceeding in a manner that is alien to you and which is harmful to them, you have to perceive in action their inability to stop recreating around themselves the effects of the fall. Remember that the core truth of this book is that you are angels. And, as angels, you have the right to constantly create, because that is your nature. It is what you are. It matters not whether you think you are creative on a physical level, or whether you feel you have a scientific, mathematical, or artistic mind. On the level of angelic being and angelic perfection, you create constantly. So you have to create in the right way. You have to forgive those who appear to be operating against you and against themselves, and to focus instead on the molecules that you are able to create by drawing them in from beyond the barrier of the field. That barrier is only there because you perceive it as being there. You, as we explained earlier, have a choice that can be made every minute of every day. And that choice is: do I bring energy to myself and to the situations around me in life that is drawn from the field that is polluted energy? Or do I constantly strive to project energy that I have drawn in from beyond the effects of the field that is God energy, perfect energy? If you do this and forgive on a primal level, on a personal level, on the level of the past and the level of your interactions with others, then you shine. You literally shine. And you draw in light that transmutes your physical body and your physical mind and transmutes the experiences of others who are drawn into your adventure or physical life. You also increasingly then have the ability to not only touch the lives of those around you in a positive way, but to shine out that light into the darkness, to begin to transmute the molecular constructs and the physical and mental attitudes of those around the globe. To be a warrior for the light, and to be one of those who turns the key that opens the door that lets in the light for others. You have to first be able to forgive yourself and you have to love yourself as what you are and what you were, which is what you still are beneath the surface. Before you entrapped yourself in physical matter, there was no consideration of whether you were worthy, and there was no consideration of did you measure up against others, because against was a word that really did not exist. There was only for others, by others, with others, and part of others. You have to get back to that perception of yourself as simply being perfect. But again, at that point, the physical mind will come in and say that that is arrogant. No, it is not arrogance, it is fact. You cannot be other than perfect because it is what you are. It is not an attitude. It is not something that you are trying to impose on others. It is what you are. You are perfect. But, in order to remember that you are perfect, you need to reach outside of the vessel that indicates to you that you are less than perfect. And the way to do that is to forgive. Forgiveness is freedom. It will be difficult because you will say, those around me do not share that vision. Those around me have a vision that is of the field, and therefore are violent, or distrusting, or argumentative, or inflexible, or arrogant. And there is no way that I, in forgiving them, can make a difference to them. If you have listened to that sentence and agree with it, you are still operating from the effects of the field and not from the position of having forgiven yourself and drawn light into your body to flood this physical plane with. Listen to that again. Listen to that previous paragraph again. And if you believe that the people around you will not respond if you send them forgiveness and light, then you are drawing from the effects of the field. Once you begin to draw from the effects of the greater reality, the true reality, the reality that is outside of the bubble that you have created and permeates you even now, you will see that every act of forgiveness is a blazing sword of light, held high for others to observe, to emulate, and to seek to hold themselves, to illuminate their brothers and sisters as to the true nature of God reality. So, on this day, as you listen to this paragraph in this chapter, I ask you to examine the personal, social, and global areas where you feel there is a need for change, and where you feel that you hold in judgment either yourself, or your friends, or those around the globe, or those from the past, or those in government. And, at that point, you have to examine those particular pockets of energy and seek to collapse, destroy, and get rid of them. There's a paradox, isn't there? Because at this point, due to the effects of the fall, you cannot fully destroy those molecules. But you can alter their spin. You can alter their charge. And you can infuse them with light, so that around you and through you there exists God light. As a result of you being able to forgive on all levels, there is a beacon for the light in this world, and a point at which a difference is made, and a point at which there is an infection of the molecules and constructs around you by your light, and not the other way around. The normal course of things within the effects of the fall, and within the physical bubble of the field, is that you are infected by the molecules of the people around you, which you agree and harmonize with, and you reinfect people by what you give out and what you believe to be true about yourself and others. You have to be the one. Each of you has to be the one that is the one that you came from, the one that you are part of. And by the one, I mean the angelic children that created the distorted earth via the effects of the field. You have to be the one so that eventually you will be the one again that is reinfected by light and is therefore elevated out of the bubble of reality we have called the field, and that bubble of reality is deconstructed totally as the effects of the fall away, and you put away your experiment and say, "Here I am, back again. I won't try that again." And then there will come a time when the word forgiveness is no longer a word that has any power, because you will have moved through the point where you forgive yourself, forgive your friends, forgive others, and forgive the past, to the point where you say, "There is nothing to forgive." And at that point you are drawing on your angelic heritage and are illuminating yourself and others to the extent that you see through the effects of the field and rediscover that each person you meet is a facet of an angelic being and not what they appear to be on a physical level. We are advising you to move to the point where you join together and remember your angelic personality and see the construct personality of the field fall away so that the very best of what you now exhibit is all that remains. Not that you discard who you are and who you have been, but you recognize that what you project through the medium of the field is polluted, is distorted, and is not who you really are or how you would really act. The angelic children who created the globe are polluted and poisoned by the effects of the field, and therefore act out of their minds. Each of the people you see who cause so much violence, so much trouble, and so much disturbance are out of their minds. And by that I mean out of their heart mind and into the physical mind that seeks, as a reflection of the needs of the field, only to survive, only to fight its own corner, only to be safe, only to dig its feet in, only to be here tomorrow for more of the same. Look at it this way. You can be a reflection of the field and be, in microcosm, what the field is, and you can reflect that mistaken need to survive, or you can reflect that ability to be all, to be without worry, to be without famine, to be without pain, to be without illness. To be without by being within what you are. Are there questions, please?
Forgiving is bringing in light, isn't it? The physical mind, as you said, is a reflection of the field, and forgiving is dismantling it brick by brick.
Yes, you are a deconstruction crew, taking walls and barriers down. You are thinning the sticky effect of the field on your ability to be. The field seeks to make you hallucinate and to make you believe that you need physicality and that you need full stop. You need warmth. You need food. You need admiration. You need respect. And yes, you do need things on a physical level. But all you really need in order to manifest what you think you need is to be who you are. It is so simple. But we can't explain it in that way to begin with, as most people would see that as too complex an equation. We have to get you used to the idea that everything negative around you continues to exist and things don't change because you are accepting the charges that you have put into the field and the dreams that you have created around you. We have to get you to begin to deconstruct, as you have said, those dreams. It may seem quite difficult at first, but as you practice this on a personal and global level, then it becomes easier, and you will see the effects of it. You will feel energized, and you will feel that you are in control of your own destiny and ability, and not under the constraints of any other person. The hardest forgiveness is the forgiveness of self. When you apply what we have suggested in this chapter, you will find, if you are used to thinking in terms of physicality only, and if you are one of those people who has a negative view of themselves, that the most difficult start point is forgiving yourself because you have chosen, year in, year out, to construct around and within you a view of yourself as being less than perfect. You are the creator, so before you can apply a change to creation for the rest of humanity, you have to change the charge that is within and around yourself. That is for many people the most difficult point. I am not worthy, you will say. Of course you are worthy. What else would you be except worthy? You created this whole world. See what you are capable of through a mistake. Imagine, therefore, what you are capable of if you are harmonizing in accordance with the greater laws of creation. So, you have to spend time forgiving and reorganizing your physical manifestation so you become a vessel for light, which is what you have always been and still are. All you are doing is peeling away the outer layers and saying, I need these no longer. And in doing that, you instantly energize yourself, and the benefits, even on a personal level, are wonderful. As an angel, you have no illness or pain. As an angel, you have no worry for tomorrow. As an angel, you have no monetary considerations. As an angel, you have no lack. As an angel, you do not worry about death because death cannot occur to you. You are an angel. You always have been, and you always will be. You are. You are part of what is. So imagine. That is exactly what you need to do. Imagine what your life will be like the moment you begin to be less demanding of yourself in a negative way. More importantly, imagine what you are then capable of in transmitting that view of reality you have altered back to what it should have been in the first place. Imagine what you are capable of by transmitting that view into the lives of others, not to control or browbeat them, but to illuminate them, so that they can then begin to grow themselves and begin to revert to what they were. When you illuminate the constructs around people, when you illuminate their heart and their soul, and put into the field enough light to influence and alter one of the angelic children, they then begin to respond to that light, as a plant responds to sunlight. They begin to remember who they were, and in the measure that they remember who they were and who they are, they continue to charge the molecules around themselves positively, and their life begins to change, as your life has begun to change. They say, fight fire with fire. But you cannot fight fire with fire. Fire is agitated molecules. How can you bring the two together and hope that something positive will come out of it? You have to stop running your lives on a physical level only, because the physical level is your playground and not your prison. You have to understand who you are. Sooner or later, you have to understand who you are. You have to strip away the layers of illusion and discover that you are perfection. You are part of God, and you are an angel. You are an angel. There is no need to be bowed down with perceived sin, and once you flood your life and the molecules around you with light, then you sin no more. In other words, you make the mistake no longer. You are incapable of doing that once you realize your angelic heritage, because it is logical for you to proceed in a certain manner, as, having imbued yourself with light once again, there is no other path open to you. It is not that you are under the cosh of religion, or because people are saying, this is the wrong way to act, this is the right way to act. It is because you are infused with light, and therefore cannot, will not, do not, want to have anything to do with anything that is less than the creative power of white light. So you sin no more. You make the mistake no more. You are part of the fall no more. You have restored yourself and others to what you were before you fell into the mistaken area that we call the field. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
Joseph, I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say that of all the religious groups, the Buddhists seem to have got it most right, because they place great emphasis on avoiding anger, on being forgiving, and on being aware of the pitfalls of ego.
Yes, we are trying to enhance that philosophy, and there are other areas where that religion is far more open in nature spiritually than many religions. But what I am trying to emphasize is the need to understand and to feel your potential and ability. It is so difficult within the confines of the field not to externalize your outlook on life. And so, unfortunately, many religions affected by the field become a distorted externalization of what was, at source, perfect spiritual knowledge. In other words, they become doctrines, with you having to adhere to their vision of spirituality outside of yourself, and having to obey that doctrine in order to honour an externally dictated version of spiritual clarity rather than honouring what is within. What we are trying to infuse you with is the knowledge that all those truths that some religions get closer to than others are within. And once they are visited within, then the texts become redundant, because they are external. Once you have visited the light within illuminates your way without the need to make judgments according to your externalized beliefs second by second. You see?
Yes.
And that is the difference. Running through everyone, running through the atheist and running through the fervent religious zealot, is the same truth at core and at source. It is vitally important that we bring you back to the religion of being, and bring you back to the religion of fulfilling your place in existence by acknowledging your ability and your status. And your status as an angelic being is no more or no less than the status of any other angelic being. So, in revisiting your core and in letting out the genie within the bottle, and that is why you have legends about letting the genie out of the bottle, in doing that you elevate yourself to your original status, but also discover that your original status is no more nor less than the status of anyone else you will ever meet on this plane. You are all equal, and if your mind says to you, I am not, I am better than some, and worse than some, then you are receiving instructions from the molecules and the force that is the energy from the field within the effects of the fall. You are all equal. But I must expand this as we draw to the conclusion of this chapter by saying that you are equal and everything else is equal. The exquisite artworks of the divas are equal to you. And the beautiful constructs that you find yourselves in are equal to you in that you have to be equal to your creations. So everything that you encounter on your journey in the name of light should be treated as your equal. And it is fine to talk to the walls of your house. It is fine to address the animal forms that you come across as your equal, and to communicate with them, because they are your equal. There is nothing else but your equal on a spiritual level, and respect should be shown for all things, for the planet, for the trees, for the animals, and for everyone that you meet. Respect should be shown as these things are your equal, and when you treat them as your equal, they will respond with a kindness and sweetness you will not have witnessed before, because you will have elevated them for a moment out of the effects of the field that they are suffering from. Do you see?
Yes, thank you.